Welcome back to the Leashed Mind podcast. I'm your host, Mandy Boutelle. On today's episode, I have a conversation with Hayley Martinez from Nakama Dog Training. Hayley shares her journey from starting a pet sitting business at 15 to becoming a professional dog trainer specializing in aggression, anxiety, and fear-related issues in dogs. She discusses her evolution in training methods, moving away from balanced, compulsion-based training to more force-free, reward-based approaches. Hayley highlights the challenges of balancing her business with personal struggles like ADHD and anxiety, which a lot of us can relate to. The importance of charging what she's worth to avoid burnout as well, because I feel like a lot of the times we forget to charge our worth when it comes to the help, information, and guidance we are providing with our clients. We need to have a livable wage, and I think that usually will aid in a lot of our stress because we are so stressed about money, but also trying to help out our clients. And then we get so burned out trying to balance all these plates. So we really hone in on that. Hayley also touches on the significance of having community support among other dog trainers and the value of continuous learning and certification within the field. We also talk about the complexities and rewards of working in dog training and emphasizing the need for personal care while maintaining and working towards professional growth. So I hope you guys like this episode. Let's get into it. Hayley, I was so excited when I saw that you applied to be on the podcast. So now I'm excited to actually be talking with you finally. I feel like we've been internet friends in the same circle for a couple of years now.
Yeah, it's really great to finally kind of meet you. I've been a big fan of the wolf culture stuff. I have about 8 or 9 shirts and the hat, and then I'm also a big fan of this podcast. I've been looking up all the episodes and listening to them recently. So thank you for both of those services.
Well, I am honored to be able to provide that. I'm really excited to have you on, primarily just because, you know, a lot of us, we have ADHD, a lot of us have anxiety, and then we try and throw a business in that. And I know navigating that is hard on itself, but then having our brains work against us just really throws a wrench in everything. So I know that you were diagnosed with ADHD, you have anxiety as well. So I really want to touch on first, when you got into dog training and kind of how that kind of took off. And then we'll get into all the mental health nitty gritty.
Sure, absolutely. So I started being interested in dog training out of high school. I started a pet sitting business when I was 15.
Oh, wow.
And, just me on my bike going around the neighborhood and stuff. And what started was there were some dogs that I would take care of and they would drive me crazy. They'd bark too much or they'd jump around or, they just
Being
were
dogs.
very frustrating. So I was like, what can I do to keep myself sane while I'm working with these dogs? So I just started looking into that kind of stuff. This was also when, the dog whisperer was really popular on television. And I'm embarrassed now to say, but I do have to acknowledge that's where I started. I kind of
Started somewhere.
like him, but and then a lot of it was self-study. So I started out that way, like I want to be Caesar Milan. And then as I kept learning about things, I realized
I don't want to be like
educating
him.
myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not the best way to go. And then after I turned 18 and I could work with animals professionally, I started working at dog daycares and grooming salons and pet stores. And I've also been in veterinary offices a couple times. So I kind of did all of that. And then I did actual training in my early 20s before I moved out here to Oregon. I'm from Maine originally.
Oh, okay.
Because as I worked at a pet store and they wanted to start like dog training classes, the person in charge of that used to be my boss at a dog daycare. So it's a very small community. So that I started working under her, and then I moved out here, worked under a couple other trainers, and then kind of started off my own part-time while I still worked in pet retail. And then in 2020, I did full-time. And then
Wow.
since, yep.
You just like hit the ground running. I love that you just were like 15. I know I want to be with animals, and you just streamlined that. That's so awesome.
So I've worked with, and when I was a child, I wanted to be a zoologist. But once I got to college, I was like, that's too much school.
Same, right?
So yeah, it's been Gosh, I just turned 34, so 19 years that I've worked with dogs in some way.
That's so awesome. And that you still, I hope you still love it if you're doing it this
Oh,
long.
I absolutely love it. Especially now that I work for myself.
Oh, sure.
I
Yeah.
pay myself pretty well. and
As you deserve. Yeah.
yeah, and I work the least amount of hours per week I've ever worked, and I've made more than I've ever made.
Oh, see,
So
that's so
that's a really
awesome.
good balance for me, just because, working all the time was a lot of burnout. I was always tired and things like that. So being
Oh,
able
yeah.
to kind of shrink myself down and still be able to make the money I need to have the lifestyle I want is really nice.
I'm curious, so when did you decide like, okay, I want to work for my own? And before you answer that, as someone that has anxiety myself, I feel like that is really just like, woo, that's a big leap and anxiety
It
inducing.
was really scary. One of my biggest, and I've figured this out through therapy and stuff too. One of my biggest triggers is actually worrying about money.
Yeah, always makes
It's
sense.
but now that I'm an adult and I'm in charge of that, it's just been like I'd never have enough money.
Same.
Even though I'm fine, I've never been in a situation where, I ran out of food or utilities or I was homeless or anything like that.
It's just the worry.
Yep, it just is, and I like to plan ahead for that kind of thing.
Yep.
So like I just bought a house, so I was planning for that for years before I actually got to do it. I probably could have become full time before I actually did, but
Oh,
because of that worry about I'll never have enough money, I delayed it for a very long time. So I was overworking myself. I had like a full time job and then a part time job. That was a lot. I was rarely home. I think the last job I had I was just kind of hitting a wall and it wasn't anything to do with the where I worked or the staff or my boss or anything. I was just like this I just don't want to do this anymore. And I
like
want
the overworking part?
yeah, and
Just working that
it's just
long.
too much and I was like, but I really want to do dog training was never work to me. I could have a bad day at work, I could go train a dog and I'd
It
be
would
good. I was
change.
feeling
Yeah.
better. So I was just like, I gotta might as well do it. And I had money saved. So I was like, well, worst case scenario, I can kind of
Fall
do
back on
that.
that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, my husband works, so we have his salary too. And by that time I had built up a reputation of sorts at a lot of people that would refer me. So I never really stalled. I just
Oh,
kind of
wow.
expanded and was going. So yeah, it worked out well. So and if yeah, I was scared. It was, it kept me up at night and stuff, but I was just very lucky that I had all kind of that cushion of clientele and referrals and stuff to fall back on and then just go, which
Yeah.
I'll have to do all over again now that I'm moving to Salem.
Well, and there's always the bonus of, like, those that offer virtual training, like, you always kinda have that backup of, like, "Okay, I still have the clients in that regard," but then it's getting more of the in-person, which I know plenty of people I can refer you to, so that won't be
Yeah.
a problem.
Yeah. Most of my clients are in person. And
Okay.
even during the pandemic, I was one of the few people who around, at least for a while, who still had in person as an offering.
Right.
Of course, we social distance and masked and everything. So that really helped. And yeah, I've only had a few people do virtual training so far. I would like to get more into it. And I am looking into how to make that a better option for everybody. But for now, in person is my I actually prefer in person too,
I
to
was
be
just gonna say,
honest.
I feel like it's the not that there's anything wrong with virtual training, but, like,
No.
just it's the in-person, it's the connection, it's doing the application, it's helping critiquing the mechanics. It's just there's something more, like, oof with it.
Yeah.
So I totally get
And
that.
I'm very hands-on teaching if I can. So if the dog is okay with me handling them and working
Mhm.
with them, then I do. I'm like, here, I will show
Yeah.
you. And it seems a lot of people are able to respond to that and learn that way.
Right, it's that visual learning and applying it. I totally get that, I'm the same way. So, wow, moving and having your business and being able to do that, how has the anxiety been with that?
It's been okay. I think I'm not as worried as I thought I was going to be. And my therapist was like, hey, let's prepare you for that
Oh, good.
because I have a goal. It's with my anxiety, even as a toddler, That's when it first kind of came out. If I have set plans and they work and they happen, that's great. It's when those plans get changed that I can get triggered. So as a toddler, that would be like my mom told me in preschool I would throw tantrums if they changed the schedule of the day.
That's understandable.
So if, they were like, "Oh, it's snack time now," and it was not that time was not snack time yesterday, I would be like, "No,
They're
I'm not
changing
gonna
their
do that."
routine and the
Yeah.
flow.
So that was the very first sign that something, and it, sounded like, obviously I don't remember, but it sounded like more than usual toddler being ridiculous
Right.
kind of thing. And it's always been that way. So like even now, like if I plan a vacation, I need to know what I'm doing every single day. If it's just,
Yes.
we're just going to hang out, go to this destination and chill. I'm like, no, I can't. I can't do that. It freaks me out and I can't have a good time. Obviously chilling, relaxing and chilling is nice, but if that's the entire plan for the whole vacation, I'm like, no. Yeah, I can't do that. When are we when are we leaving? When are we going to eat? When are we going to do this? When are we going to do that?
Right.
So with the house, and I'm kind of in charge of it. My husband's very passive. He's just like, you do it. So
That's like Josh. Yes.
yep. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna move on these days. We're going to switch all our addresses over. We're going to sell these items we're not gonna bring. I'm gonna go down there this day, this day, this day, this day, and clean this, because the house is pretty dirty.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's people coming in to look at it. Don't even get me
Yeah.
started.
Well, I learned yesterday that the linoleum on the kitchen in the kitchen is a different color than it looks.
Oh,
We need to clean it.
so like, great. Wasn't expecting that, but okay, great.
Yeah. So, but I've got plans to do that. And the goal is live in this house and make it livable and it's
Make it your
ours.
home. Yeah.
And that is a big life goal that I've had for a really long time. I've hated being in apartments and I've been in them
Oh,
for
yeah.
8 years. So I'm like, no, I want a house. So I'm okay. I'm okay. And unless something, yeah, that was the thing is I would worry, especially with the buying process. I'd worry
Oh,
there's going to be a wrench in the, there's gonna
something
throw a
will
wrench
fall
in the
through.
plan.
Yep.
The seller's gonna be difficult. We're gonna find something. We're gonna find something that's like, no, we're not gonna buy this now because it's so bad, and that never happened. And I've always been a pessimist. with my own stuff.
Oh,
So
same.
I think I think it's also part of anxiety is I think the worst is going to happen.
Yep.
But now at this point and my age and where I am with therapy and medication, I can acknowledge that and maybe think that, but I'm not always stuck on it like I used to be. Like I used to just be stuck on
Sure.
this bad thing will happen and then just not do anything
Yep.
about it.
Yep.
So I'm able to kind of break. I mean, that still will happen sometimes, but it's pretty rare compared to when I was younger.
Well, and that, like, let's just tie that right into dog training because I feel like a lot of the times when we are dealing with, difficult behaviors, air quotes on difficult because it ranges, but in that it's always trying to think of the next step and always trying to be prepared. And what if this happens? What if this trigger happens out of the way? But having and it takes time to create the toolkit in ourselves of, okay, but this is what I'm going to do when this happens. This is what I do when this happens. There are different ways to break it up to approach and handle certain situations, whether it be management, training. And I feel like a lot of the times we forget that, myself included, that we can totally reach into those toolboxes that we have, that we develop over time to offset that. And medications, stress management, having things planned out in a way so that we have less to worry about. I am such an anxious person, and it's taken years for me to get out of I don't want to say obsessive, but just the festering and not being able to let go of my mom used to call it future tripping. I'd always be future tripping. She's like, stop, you don't need to be worrying about that's so like a week out. And I'm like, but I need to plan now and be prepared. But then it takes me out of the moment of just
True.
being present. And when I made that connection, I was just like, okay, I can worry about that then. Right now, I'm just going to do what I'm good at. But of course, that's the learned skill and it takes time. And navigating a business is a whole other beast when you have anxiety.
Oh yeah.
You think of everything.
Yeah. I have no business background, so I'm just making
Most of us don't. Yeah.
No.
We're winging it.
And it's worked so far, but yeah, and sometimes I also future trip as we've kind of already established. So I like that word for it.
You can take it.
I do have to kind of stop myself from doing that too, because I can still get worried about the business stuff. Like,
Sure. It's understandable.
okay, I'm making money. It's nice. I would like some more. Can I make more? I mean, I don't expect to be a millionaire or anything, but I'm like, can I make a little bit more?
Live comfortably,
That would be
not
nice,
worry.
especially now
Yeah.
that I've got a house to take care of.
Right.
And then I'm like, well, how am I gonna expand? Like, should I expand? Do I want to expand? Do I want it to
Mm.
be just me? Do I want to hire somebody someday? And
You
at this point, wouldn't really work. So if I worry about that too much, it's just messes things up and I get really kind of anxious. And my anxiety can definitely, I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing, but it has come out before, or at least I think it is. Like, I don't think anyone notices during sessions, but I can be like, oh no, or
Oh,
like
yeah.
think about that again, like, oh no, money. And why am I thinking about this
I
right
need
now?
to be here right now. It's like,
Yeah.
how did I even get there? How'd that thought even get in here? Get away.
Or like, or I'm very harsh on myself and my performance. So if I
Same
make
here.
a mistake, I internally I'm like screaming. I'm like, no, I'm so stupid. I'm so dumb. Why? They know. They
I'm a
don't.
fraud.
Clients don't know. I mean, not perfect, so I have made mistakes, but if I do, I fix it. And they've never caused any problems like damage,
Right.
injury, or anything. So it's just little things like, oh, I should have brought the dog away sooner before he barked at.
Right.
I should have noticed. But yeah,
Trial and
I'm the only
error.
one. I'm
Yeah.
the only one that's noticing this. Maybe if another trainer was watching me, they'd notice too. But then I would welcome that as a critique. I'm like, yes, thank you for telling me.
Right. You're like, take me out of my head and just tell me that, please. Help
Yeah,
me.
I'm open to constructive criticism, absolutely, especially from people that I value their opinion.
It's when our own criticism hits us and we just like pull it apart. Oh, I am so good at doing that. It's such a great skill I have.
I wish I could do that more often to myself because I'm my own worst enemy when it
Oh,
comes to
yeah.
that kind of thing.
It's so easy to get into our heads and just it's so easy to be negative with ourselves of like, you didn't do this right, you didn't time that correctly, you screwed up doing this. When it's like, okay, you're human. What happened in the situation that maybe made you not really think in that moment? What prompted this to happen? And it's the same thing that we say to clients when they're like, oh, it's my fault. Like, I'm the reason my dog reacted. I'm the reason they had that. When you come in as a professional and you're like, no, okay, actually, this is what's going on in the environment. There were these really loud things going on in the background. You felt tense. Like, there are so many other factors. And we explain that to our clients. But when we're in the heat of the anxiety and feeling the pressure, we can't tell ourselves that. We
Yeah.
can't rationalize that. And that's so human of us to do that.
It is. It's funny. Is That's exactly what I do, especially because most of my workload is reactive and fearful and aggressive dogs. So I have that conversation with clients all the time,
Right.
and I can't turn around and have that conversation with myself.
No.
It's definitely something I'm trying to work on, but at this point, I really can't. Really
Right.
can't.
It's baby steps too,
Yeah.
and just, like, noticing little things here and there, and it's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna work on that, here and there," but, you're human, and I think for a lot of us that I feel like a lot of dog trainers, we have some type of mental health going on, and that's why we do what we do because we care so much, and we're so empathetic and so understanding, and a lot of us have some form of anxiety, whether it be really high or it being a little more manageable. But we can relate to the situation and training so much that I think that's why we like it so much because we're like, we're not going to fix this, but we can fix that.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. I was like, wow, a lot of us are struggling with these certain things or neurodivergent or things like that.
Right.
I always wondered why, but that's a great insight on that. An observation. I like it.
It's taken a lot of therapy for me to figure that one out. And I think having an ADHD diagnosis in my 30s definitely helped explain a lot of like, oh, that's why I bounced around from career to career. And that's why I really love dog training because it's the visual, the physical, and being present and out and applying things with my hands. And just it's a different way behind, now I sit behind a desk and so it's really different for me. But figuring out that balance, I don't even know where I'm going with this, but same thing.
No, I really think one of the reasons that I don't find it work. Like the one aspect of this job I dislike the most is the paperwork part.
Oh, yeah,
I
sure.
spend I send progress reports every time and everything and emails. And I'm just like, and I could sit there and it'll take me like 20 minutes to make like a 4 sentence email because I don't want to do this. But yeah, the other stuff is great.
Right.
And
It's the non-paperwork things, right?
yeah. And I really think for me, because that one of those major triggers I've always had is the lack of, or a feeling of lack of control. Because I think
Right.
that's what it boils down to. If like my schedule is different or my plan
Mhm.
changes, I feel like I'm losing control. And not that it makes me a control freak or anything where I'm like, good, I'm controlling the dogs. Like I don't think that at all because I'm not.
It's more of having like a plan and
Yeah,
then the
I have.
plan changing.
Yep. And but it's yeah, I know what I'm gonna do. I know what to do whenever every scenario pops up, and I can do, and I can also compartmentalize. So like if oh, that dog had a big reaction, or the other day I was working with an aggressive dog, and we were in a park, and the client, accidentally dropped the leash when the dog
Oh,
was reacting. There was no danger though. The other dog was behind a fence, so there wasn't. No one's
oh,
gonna get.
okay.
But so I just went over and
That
got it
panic.
and
Yeah.
brought it back. But inside I'm like, "Oh no, oh, it's a good thing there's a fence. What if there wasn't a fence? What if another dog comes over?" Because it ran pretty quickly.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I can just kind of take over and just, nope, we're gonna move them and then we're fine and we're gonna reassess and we're good.
It's
So
so funny how the trainer brain can override that.
yeah.
You switch into that mode.
Yeah, and I'm not scared of them. Like I have been in some situations where I could have gotten hurt if
Right.
something went wrong or even a little bit more wrong. But I don't panic. Like I've had teeth here in front of my face.
Woo.
I've been able to dodge, you know, a bite a couple times. And those are all on me. Cause then I'll look back on, I'm like, okay, how could I have set up this scenario better so that didn't happen? And I've learned from those errors. So now when I work with aggression, I'm very careful and over careful. Probably some people think, but I
Hey,
just
you can't be
nope.
too careful with that.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
exactly.
I'm curious, so when you've had that kind of situation happen where you're like, "Okay, I need to be more careful, I need to set this up better." Have you encountered that how do I wanna ask this? Have you encountered that in a way where you have had some type of roadblock in your business, something that is just like, "Oh, okay, that is like a panic attack, very stressful. Did not prepare for that. Now I need to figure out a plan." Have you hit something like that in your business where you've kind of had to approach it the way you did for like a training case where you're just like, "Oh, I need to like pivot and like figure out how to handle this differently next time?"
For the business aspect,
Yeah, it could be
not
anything.
not quite yet,
Okay, good.
to be perfectly honest. I think this is because it's just me.
Okay. Hey, I
And so that's a little easy. This moving and having to reset all my clientele again is,
it's a big one.
yeah, hopefully not gonna be a roadblock, but I'm prepared for it to be
Good.
for a while. I mean, I moved across country and did
Right.
it. So,
You've done it before, you can
yeah,
do it
I can do
again.
it.
Yeah.
Um, I think if the only thing that would come close to that, and it's not really much of a roadblock yet, is I'm trying to decide what to do with my business in the aspect of what I'm offering.
Mhm. Oh, okay.
So I offer a little bit of everything right now, and I like everything, but I just recently have started to actually say, hey, I specialize in aggression and anxieties and fear. And I think what made me hesitate for that for so long was because since there's no regulatory committee or anything,
Right.
you can say that and no matter what. So I was always really nervous, like, what if I say that and then someone's like, no, you're not, or something. But I believe I am because it's about 90% of my workload now. Um,
Right.
and it's my favorite thing to do. And the thing I have been learning a lot more about with continued education. And I feel confident that I'm able to do most of those cases. And I'm also very open to referring out if I'm like, you know what, I can't do this one. And I let people know. I have evaluations before we dive
Sure,
in.
yeah.
So if that happens, I'm like, I can't do this. Well, I don't say it that way, but I'm like, it's like, you need a little more help than I can give you. So here are some people who can help you much better than I can.
Right, I think there's nothing wrong with that, especially when you're niching down is hard, And choosing to, it almost feels, correct me if I'm wrong, but sometimes it feels like you're letting go of other opportunities when it's
Yeah.
like, but you can lean into something that you're really good at.
Yeah. I just have to it's more of my self-doubt coming through.
Sure, of
So I just
course.
have to take the plunge. I probably will eventually. And just what I'll probably do is just erase, like I don't like take off the puppy stuff and stuff. I love doing that too. It's very refreshing
Right. It's
to
good
have
in between. It gives you a little
yeah,
burst of joy here and there.
to have just a silly little puppy bouncing around versus a dog that hates me, eat me, or wants to eat everybody else.
Right.
Uh,
I think when you're choosing to specialize in something, I think a lot of the times people are like, well, then that means I can't take on, obedience and puppies. You still can, but I think
True.
it's more sprinkled throughout here and there. But I think the big, heavy behavior, aggression, reactivity things, a lot of people don't want to touch that because it's big, heavy. And when we lived in San Francisco, we specialized in reactivity. And we were one of the few trainers that took that on because a lot of people didn't want to touch that. And then all the puppy people would want to come to us and they're like, do you train that? Like, it doesn't really say on your website. And we're like, oh, yeah, we do. We just, we specialize in this, but we totally take that on. And then they'd be like, oh, okay, great. But being able, because then what will happen, I'm sure you know this, but what will happen if you do choose to specialize is that people will know to refer to you to. And then you become that source that people start referring to. And then it even looks better when you're like, oh, I have a wait list. I'm so popular and busy because I'm so good at this. Now I have a wait list. And then people are like, oh, now I need to wait to work.
Yeah, no, you're 100% correct. I just need to take that plunge. I'll probably do it after I've established myself
Oh, yeah, get settled
down in my
in.
new community and stuff. And I do need to look at the training field down there too. There's some great trainers down there. I've already kind of connected with a couple of them, and I look forward to meeting them in person. But I don't necessarily know if there's any spots that needs to be filled. I've just been told, yeah, we need more force free down here. So I was like, good, I'll
They
do
do.
that. Yeah.
Yes, they do.
And my circle's gonna my service area is gonna be pretty big. So
Oh, good. Okay.
yeah, I'm gonna kind of go out into the little towns a little bit and do if they want me and do that. So
Hey, if you're willing to come to McMinnville, let me know. I can refer so many people to you because we have no trainers here.
oh no, really?
Yeah, that's why
Okay.
I briefly debated getting into it. I'm like, I can't be the only one.
I'll have to see how that would work out, but I'll
Yeah.
definitely look into it. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
absolutely.
it's like a 45-minute drive, I think. And
Hmm.
yeah, it's just a lot of the old school Caesar Milan kind of people out here, which is normal. I
Yes.
mean, it's more country. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
We were driving around and I was like, oh, I saw someone carry treats and they treated their dog. And my husband's like, pretty sure I saw a prong collar on that lab. And I was like, you know what? I was happy they had a bag of treats. Don't rain on
Right.
my parade. So when you decided to start your business, that is quite a big leap. And then just, I feel like a lot of the times we start businesses and we don't realize that a good chunk of it is being an entrepreneur and doing marketing and sales and getting people to, buy your services. And I'm curious, just how was it going into that with anxiety, with ADHD, and learning, not only learning how to do it, but then executing it and building the clientele up, because I know that's a beast.
I did it very slowly.
Okay.
And I think that helped because I didn't get too crazy. It did help that I had been in the pet community for so long that people already kind of knew me. So before my last pet retail job, I worked at Fang in Portland, in North
Okay.
Portland.
Yeah, yeah.
And I became the dog person. Like, and this had happened in other pet stores I'd worked in too. So, if there's any questions about training or harnesses or
You were the
behavioral
person.
stuff, they're like, let's go get Haley. And I just and I just went. Then I had people who were like, "Oh, do you train?" I was like, "Yes, I do." Or I had people come in who, they were dog like Club Canine, which is
Oh,
a
yeah.
great dog boarding place. They were across the street, or they still are.
Well,
So
that
they would
probably
come
worked out
in.
perfectly.
Yeah, they come in and talk to them and stuff. That's also how I met a guy named Shell, who he and I and a few other people started Force Free Oregon.
Oh,
Oh,
I know that. Oh my God.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. It's been kind of in
That's a
hibernation
big
for a
deal,
while.
though.
Because one of us moved to Indiana, and then I'm moving, and then Shell moved to Canada, and it's Lorenzo who works at Synergy Veterinary Behavior.
I'm talking to them
They're
right after you. I'm so excited.
the best. I have learned so much from Lorenzo.
Oh
Like,
my God.
not even funny, and I'm in a good way jealous of that.
Oh, I love every single account they have. There's just so much like just bursting with information.
But yeah, we all started Force Free Oregon, and it's kind of been in hibernation just because we've been so busy, but it exists still,
That's
and
a
we're
big
not gonna
deal.
stop it or anything.
Oh, good.
But first and foremost, it's that directory that's on the website and it's very useful, and we get hits, so people use it.
Can you explain what force-free Oregon is? Because I'm a nerd and I know what it is, but I want you to
So,
explain it.
Force Free Oregon is a directory of force free, fear free, reward based head professionals in the state of Oregon because it was so difficult to find them.
Yes.
They exist, but unless you search the exact right thing, they would get lost in this avalanche of not so great places.
Right. And having to weed through.
Yeah, especially when they're like ads and all that stuff. So it's completely free to use. It's free to join. It's separated by like groomers and pet stores and trainers and behaviorists and boarding and dog walking, I believe. And so we just have everybody listed. We have links to their websites or their social media. And so you can just go ahead and pick who you want to work with. And everybody has been vetted by us. So either we knew them or we really took a deep dive into their online presence to make sure, because a lot of the not so great, especially trainers,
Mhm.
the not so great ones are very good at hiding that.
Yes.
So, like you have to go into the bottom of their about page to find, oh, yep, there's a shock collar on the dog. They're very
Or
good at it.
0 certifications, and you're like, "Oh, they grew up with dogs for 20 years, and that's their
Mhm.
experience."
Mhm.
Right.
Which there are some great trainers around without certifications, because
Sure, yes.
certification can be, prohibitive, like costs and things.
Yes,
But
good point.
yeah, if there's continuing education of some sort, that's always good.
Seeking education and more information is always the most crucial point of that. I will
So yeah,
plug a link to all of that so people can find that.
yeah, fantastic. So we do stand by everybody on that list. And, if it turns out we were wrong or they switched over to something else, then, we'll take them off. So, but yeah, it's just easy. So if you type force free in Oregon, which if you're looking for that, you will type that
The
in.
first thing that comes up.
I hope so.
I'm
I haven't
pretty sure,
Googled it in
yeah.
a while. But yeah, it will pop up. And, I'm on there too. And so that's helpful. And I've had a few people find me through that website as well. So
That's awesome. I totally forgot that you were connected to that. But yeah, the force-free Oregon's a big deal. I'm excited to be, on that list and be included in that. And I know that certain businesses in Oregon will have that little badge on their website too. I know I have it because I was so
Mhm.
proud to have that. But yeah, that's another way to spot force-free trainers in Oregon. And I love that. Like, I thought the dog training and community in San Francisco was pretty freaking awesome, but the dog training community in Oregon, I'm realizing is even more awesome.
It's really great.
It's very connected.
We're all really supportive of each other.
Yes.
We don't compete. Like, I mean,
There are enough
we're
dogs to
like,
go around.
yeah,
Yeah.
don't go in this town. That's my town. We don't, nobody does any of that. I have been referred to by other trainers who they either couldn't do what needed to be done or they didn't have time or something like that. And I'm happy to do the same. I've had to do that now because I'll have people from up here in the
Right.
Portland area be like, "Hey," I'm like, "I can't, I'm moving here." Talk
And that's so
talk to this
helpful.
person. Yeah, and I'm happy to do that. Or if I've had I've had a few times where someone's like, "Oh, well, I decided to go with this group class instead." I'm like, "Oh, that's great because I like them. They're fantastic. No hard feelings. I'm totally fine with that." And like I said, I've had a couple people in Salem already reach out like, "Hey, let's grab lunch when you're down here and stuff." So
Oh, awesome.
yeah, I'm really excited to start building up a network down there again and expanding on this one.
Right. Well, and let's just, talk about community on that point, because I feel like a lot of the times, and I talk about this so much in the podcast, that the dog training community was isolating for so long. And for so long, a lot of us didn't feel like we could reach out to one another, whether it be we feel like we're competition or just feeling like the other doesn't want to interact. And nowadays, I feel like we are seeing more people connect with one another. More people are sharing business ideas and not having that fear of, well, they're going to go and steal that, because there's so many other ways we can branch off and help one another. My question is with this is that I'm curious how you feel about having that sense of community now and how it's helped with your business.
I think it's helped immensely, not only with, referrals and all that stuff, but just the fact that you, like you said, you can reach out to somebody. They're talking about Lorenzo. I've asked Lorenzo a ton of questions. And
And they're
and
so nice. Like they
yeah.
immediately are like, here's all this information. If
Hmm.
anyone's not watching YouTube, I'm like pulling things from my head.
Yeah. And I worked with them briefly too. So that's where that relationship started. But even after that, I still could reach out. I've asked them stuff about my own dog and or can you explain how this works? Like for some reason, my brain cannot comprehend some of the physical therapy exercises
Yeah,
that they
I could
do,
see
like
that.
with back end awareness. I'm like, how do I start that? I cannot do it.
Same. Yes.
So, like, you can show me 1,000 videos, or I'm like, I don't know. So it's
Application and
like that.
watching are so
Yeah, it's
different.
like, Lorenzo, help me out. Like, what is this? And other people too. I see something on like their Instagram. I'm like, "How- that's so cool. I never thought of it that way. Or how did you start that? Or where did you buy that equipment?
Right.
And yeah, no one's ever ignored
Don't
me.
ask me.
No one's ever
Yeah.
said, pay me before I tell you, or something like that. So it's really, really great. Yeah, no one is in fear of each other.
I know. It's an awesome time to be a dog trainer, I feel like, in that regard, as far as like community and being able to help one another, I've noticed for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. The only divide really that I still see is the force free versus aversive,
That's
which
always gonna be there.
yeah, and it's true. And I will admit that there are some times where I'm not, I'm on the fence with how to really bridge that gap, or if
Mhm.
I can, if there's a point to, because it definitely, when I've tried before, it doesn't go very well. Because it really depends. So I kind of do like, oh, it's funny because sometimes I'll leave little tidbits in like a comment section for somebody else. And then depending on my mood or depending on how terrible that video is, I'll be snarky.
Oh,
I
I
will admit
yeah.
it. It's not helpful. I
Yeah.
understand in the long run it's not helpful, but it's kind of for me venting. And it's usually people who are like, they're never going to change. It's usually more of the really rich and famous ones. So like, yeah, they're not
Right.
going to change because they'll lose all their money. So
I love it. Just tell it like it is. Yes.
yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying everyone go be rude in comment sections.
No.
It's not good, but I will admit that sometimes I will tip into that, and then I do have to pull myself out because I can't get too far in, and then I turn back into my nasty teenager self.
Oh, that's such a good comparison. Yes.
I wasn't a very nice teenager.
Oh, no, I
I
wasn't
will
either.
admit it. And that's, a lot. That's teenager, and then having the anxiety and all that stuff did not help. I did mellow out a bit once I kind of ended puberty, but
Right.
it was a whirlwind for a while. Yeah, that's why I was on TikTok for 3 months, and then I took myself off because it got so bad. And not just with bullying for me, which usually I'm like, bullies, whatever.
Right.
But I was actually like crying, and I'm like, why am I crying? It got really, really bad. And then I was being really mean to some people, not people,
Reactive.
but I was being very defensive and reactive. I was a reactive dog. Basically. So I took myself off. I'm like, this is just stupid.
Hey, that's
And
a
I will
big
never
mental health
and I
step.
will never go I'll never go back. I'll be the old people on Instagram and Facebook, I guess. I guess we're old now, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we're creeping to 40. We're a ways away, but we're still creeping there. No, I like that you brought up social media, because that is a hard topic, especially in our community, because there is that divide, and it's so easy to see all these videos, and it irks us because we know what is really going on, because we understand things, and you just see it and it's just like, I can't not comment on that. And for those not watching YouTube, I twitched my eye a ton because it's so infuriating. I avoided TikTok for at least like 2 years. I refuse to get on. People are like, "Oh, get TikTok." I'm like, "No. Why? I don't like I hear people complain about it all the time. Why would I subject myself to that? Like I just don't want to see that shit." And I did create a TikTok, but only just to have like I didn't want anyone stealing my handle. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to create this just like I did with Twitter. I'm like, I'm just going to create the handle and I'm not going to go on. And then people will tag me and they'll be like, "Oh, I didn't, I tagged you on TikTok and I didn't see you." And I'm like, I have it, but I'm not active. Like, you want to talk to me on any other platform, not that. I check it maybe once every 3 months for my mental health because it's too much.
I was going down that rabbit hole. I was like on there
It's
for
so
like
easy.
hours. And now Instagram is turning into it too, and it's really frustrating. But I'm trying, like, I'm making more videos now, but I have to because it is my advertisement basically is Instagram.
Yeah.
Facebook, I kind of am lazy about posting on there. I don't have as much traffic.
It's a different demographic on Facebook too. It
It
depends
is.
on what your audience is.
It is. It's everyone who remembers before Facebook existed is on Facebook. And then everyone else who's always noted is like, Facebook's old.
Right. That's exactly it. Oh, you're aging us right now. Yes,
I'm
that is
sorry.
exactly it. It's fine. I reference MySpace on here plenty. So
I remember my is too complicated. You have to do all that HTML stuff.
all the coding. That's how
I'm
it
like,
got us all into it. But I love that you touched that Instagram and social media is a form of your marketing because a lot of the times it is for a lot of us. I mean, hello, that's how I built Woof Culture. I wouldn't be here without it.
Yeah, and now if I record during sessions, I'll say thanks for the commercial when it comes out. But
Everything is content now.
yeah.
Yes.
And it is like I had a video kind of featured by Zach George in the last winter.
Yeah.
And my followers tripled
I'm sure.
because of that. That was cool. And so I'm like, well, cool, that helped. And I didn't have to ever I didn't have to pay for that or anything. So that was really nice. Which is funny because speaking of snarky in comments, some of his comments, not his comments, but his comment sections. That's
Right.
where I'll snark most. And he either he or his wife or whoever runs the account, I'm not sure. It was like, hey, we see you in the comments all the time and they're really great. I was like, cool, thanks.
You're like, thanks for the R plus.
Yeah. But yeah, I do my best and I will also sometimes kind of make posts a little bit personal where I do get kind of worried sometimes if that's the most appropriate thing as a business. But at the same time, social media has made lots of businesses kind of more about the individual and like,
real.
human.
Yeah.
So
A little
like
bit
if
more
I've had
human. Yeah.
if I'm really frustrated about something I saw online or I had a frustrating client or something, I mean, I don't name names or anything. Sure. I'll
Right.
just be like, hey, remember, trainers are people too. Or, it's not instantaneous. Like you actually have to work. Put some work in, please. So and hopefully that doesn't scare anybody off. But
No, I think that's a great point. Before I let you go, I wanted to ask because you mentioned, I can't remember if you mentioned it before we hit record, but you said that, now you have a lower number of clients, but you are charging accurately so that you are, getting paid well and you are getting paid what you deserve. Because a lot of the times especially when we're first starting out, we try to just take everything on and, kind of have a maybe lower tier pricing so that people want to pay us. But then we realize soon enough, once we start getting traction, that we're not getting paid enough. And it's like, oh shit, I need to raise prices. So when did you actively say, okay, I'm going to raise my prices. I need to make money. And where was your anxiety in that? Because I know that's a huge step.
I started the same where I was really cheap. Well, I wasn't really cheap. I wasn't the cheapest, but what I did
In the
is
market,
I kind of, took
to get a ballpark of everyone.
Yeah, I took the ballpark and then kind of went with that. But yeah, it was the same. I was working too much and I was getting burnt out. I did see also that when the prices were lower, I had less commitment from more clients. So I think it's like you get what you pay for. kind of thing. And then as
And what they're
I
investing too, because if there's that money that
um,
they put into it, they're more likely to
yeah.
invest in it. Yeah.
And I mean, and that still happens even with the my pricing the way it is now. But I saw as I increased it, and I was increasing it like every year just by a tiny bit.
Good.
And as I might have gotten less, but
Like the
the
quality of clients.
the quality of client was better, the compliance was better, the effort and the follow through was better. So
Interesting.
yeah, I'm probably going to. I usually did the beginning of the year, and I might do that again. Because we're after I move, so January I might change them again. And I also know there's a little bit different demographic down in Salem than
Right.
Portland.
There's always that.
So I'm gonna have to feel that out a little bit. Because I don't want to be inaccessible either.
Right. There is always that give and take with it too.
Yeah. So I was worried about that, but then when that didn't happen, like, oh, no one's it's like, oh, no one's gonna call me now. Like that never happened. And the clients got better. So and then I've learned from, I've tried to do some business stuff, but I've had like some webinars like about dog training business and stuff. And one that thing that really stuck with me that a bunch of them said was like charge what you're worth,
Yes.
and then charge until they stop coming. Like or like charge the price. So if you have your price and you suddenly don't get anybody, then okay, maybe it's too much, and then you just can adjust it. But until then, just go for it until
Yeah.
you're at a number where you're happy. And I've also gotten more certifications since then. I have 4, soon to be 5 if I ever finish my family dog mediator one. I've been very slow on that. I'm not a very
You
good
got a lot going on.
self at your pace learner. I'm not. I just kind of forget about it for a
I'm the
while.
same way. I need the pressure. I need someone like giving me deadlines and getting things done.
Yeah. So I'll have 5, and I think that'll be it. Like I'm like, okay, I'm good. At least for now. Um, so all of that education and experience and time, it's worth getting paid for.
Right.
So, yeah, charge what you're worth, really.
That's the biggest thing that I see dog trainers not doing, and it makes me so upset for them because they deserve to have a living wage. They deserve to have a comfortable life and not be, having a second job on top of running a business. It's not feasible.
Mhm.
And, it's what dog trainers do is such a big deal, and they deserve to get paid what they're worth. They are providing so much to their clients. And I think that a lot of times they just think, and something I thought too for a long time is I'm just a dog trainer. Like I'm a dog walker that knows about behavior when it's like, ugh, that is the furthest thing from the truth. Like you are helping change, not only the dog's life, but the human's life and their connection with their dog. Of course you deserve to get paid what you're worth. And the right clientele will pay that. And that's the thing is marketing to your correct audience that wants to invest in that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And it's worth it. So like and so like veterinary behaviors, for example, are pretty
Right.
expensive, but I mean my dog is a patient of Dr. Pockle at Animal Behavior Clinic. It's expensive, but worth it in my opinion.
Yep.
So I paid it.
Right. Same. I'm
And
like,
it works.
"Well, that's gonna set us back," but I'm like, "It's worth getting that help because I am, like, drowning." So, yeah,
Yeah,
no,
and they
resources.
and all the VBs have put in so much time and education and stuff. So and they do a lot. So use it.
Yeah.
Same thing with trainers and walkers and things like that. And there especially if you're just starting in the business, there's so much more to it than just hanging out with dogs too.
Well, right, and I think one thing I wanna add to that is that, dog trainers don't pay themselves for their admin time, and so, think of that when you are doing your business, setting things up, pay yourself for the admin time, so that needs to be put into your fees that you are applying to people because I think a lot of the times they think, "Okay, I'm charging for the service," when it's like, "Okay, but what goes into that service? How much time are you spending writing these, can't think of the words right now because I'm not training actively,
Progress
but
reports.
yes, progress reports. Like the time it takes to do that, you need to be getting paid for that. That is still work. And I think a lot of the times we forget that. So, oh, yes, so many helpful little nuggets. Is there any last bit of advice you have for anyone that is changing their business, just starting?
If you can do it without getting overwhelmed, do a lot of your research first. If you have the ability to be flexible and take things slow, definitely take things slow. Don't get that's what helped me a lot. Don't get overwhelmed by like, oh, this person has all these flashy ads and equipment and they're putting out 8,000 videos a day and, they just bought a facility and, all this stuff. I
Right.
mean, that's all built up over time. Don't feel that you need to be exactly like that. I mean,
Yes.
that's good goals to have if you want to have those goals as a business.
But it's growth. It takes time.
Yeah, and they didn't start that way. And just do what makes you feel comfortable at your own pace and everything. And pick it, yeah. Have goals for your money that where you make it so you can live
Right.
basically and live the lifestyle that you want. And then there'll be so much less things to worry about. Definitely. But yeah, I'm not much of a,
No,
like I said, I'm
that was so
making.
good. That was perfect. Those are such great points and ones that we, a lot of the times we don't think about. So that was awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, Hayley. It has been such a pleasure talking with you.
It was great talking to you too.
And if you like what we're doing here on the Leashed Mind podcast and you want to help others find us, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on social media, give us a rating wherever you got your podcasts, whether that's leaving a review on Apple or giving us a star rating on Spotify, or just leaving a little R+ on our Facebook page. It's all appreciated. Thank you, and we will be back with another episode.